So anyway, we're here at Road Atlanta, and a quick little update is, day one. Of course, now it's blue sky, and it's sunny out. We started off today, and it was pretty horrible. It was super wet out. We had a completely wet FP1 session. Q1 was, for both the 600 and the Junior Cup, was sort of a mixture. Junior Cup ended up going on wets and then going out on slicks at the end, and it was kind of a mess. And then 600s pretty much did slicks the whole time on the 600s. Still had some mixed conditions. So that was kind of a little bit of our day. We had kind of a little bit of a rough start on our RIT crew. Gage did great, ended up P5, and he stayed on wets the whole time. We had a little bit of a wardrobe malfunction with Nick. We got that handled. And then we also had, everybody thinks this stuff always goes so easy, and it doesn't. We had a motor failure on Hayden's bike, but we have a new motor. Those guys put the motor in, not me. So those guys got that handled, and we'll be back at it tomorrow. So that's a little bit of our update today. So here we want to be able to take some questions from people, and kind of get your things going on, answer some questions that people have got out there. So throw us some questions. Let's get this going. You've got my attention. So hopefully you guys get some questions coming in. I think one of the questions that we had earlier was difference between dry setup and wet setup. So while we wait for some questions to come in on that, what we have really is, it's just the amount of force that you're putting into the bike. Obviously with the wet setup, the pace isn't as high. It's not as much force in the bike, so the suspension, you're not as far down in the suspension. So depending on the conditions, we're gonna, if it's super wet and super cold, we may do spring changes. We actually have, I think, on the 600s, we have a different valve shock for the rear as well. But in the conditions that we had today, which it wasn't raining, it was kind of a mist, but the track was wet for the wet tires. We just did a preload change. We're still able to get things going on that. So, all right, got some questions? Yeah, great question. So the way that we have, the way that we do it on the 600s, we have Graves R6s, and we're just super happy with them. And typically, the way that we do our Graves bikes is they have a maintenance schedule that are on these bikes, and I would say it works out, just depending on the mileage, to about 3 weekends. 3 weekends on the motor. So we're doing obviously practice and the 2 races and the qualifying, and that's about right. Sometimes if we're doing a testing, we might do something we might change the motor out earlier, or sometimes even later. We did run our motors over in the off season a little bit longer, just because it was more of a test. But typically, I think you'd have to ask Chuck Graves, not me. I think it's around 1,200 kilometers, 1,500 kilometers, which is around 3 weekends. So don't quote me on that, but I think that's pretty close. And performance-wise, they still run extremely well. It's just more of, we just want to make sure that we're not going to have a failure during a race. So there you go on that.
We have another question coming in. It says, what kind of different riding techniques do you use between the wet and the dry?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's the same thing, is that you're not putting as much force into the bike, and we're trying to limit our lean angle, right? Because especially when we just have less grip. So one of the things that we've worked on our riders is we've actually practiced wet riding in the dry. This week, actually with Nick riding one of the Ovalis, is we spent a whole day basically riding in the rain, but riding in the dry on an Ovali. And a lot of it is we'll change our braking technique a little bit. We have a lot more straight up and down braking, trail the brake off a little bit sooner. But also making sure we're keeping the contact patch going. And it's a lot of core engagement at turn-in, because we want to run less overall lean angle. So we're going to have our core more engaged to keep the bike a little bit more upright, especially in the first third of the corner as well. And then we can use more of our upper body adjustment on the exits, depending on what they're doing on the corner and how grip is. So it's not a huge difference. Obviously, it depends on how much it's raining. If we're trying to conserve the wets, we'll definitely go for the puddles. If it's super wet out and pouring down rain, we'll try to avoid some of the puddles just so we don't have any hydroplaning issues. But that pretty much should cover that. So, what else we got, Nick?
So are those Dunlop rain tires any good?
The Dunlop Rains are awesome. It's shocking how fast these guys go in them. And it's pretty simple, right? Compound wise, there's really not many available choices. Tire pressure, there's one tire pressure, you set them and you go. That's pretty much it. We will, depending on the circumstances, when they're new, we may throw the tire warmers on them to just barely warm them, not to heat them, but we'll just get a little bit of temperature in them as the riders go out. Typically, with the mold release on them, it's good. It takes a lap and a half on those tires, and otherwise you're pretty much good to go. But the bottom line is, yeah, they're pretty damn good. The riders love them. It's shocking how fast these guys can go on the rain tires, and the wear on them is also really good. Hayden used them in the first session and the second session, same set of reins. So did Gage. Gage ran both sessions today on the same set of reins.
Interesting question here coming in. It says, I always have issues when he rides with his visor in the rain. Any thoughts on how to fix that, and did you have any issues with that today?
Yeah, we did have an issue with that with one of our riders today. And basically, when you're having these conditions, what you're trying to do is you're trying to limit the circulation of air in there. You want the air to blow down, right? So you're not getting the air all up inside the visor. And so a lot of what the riders will do is, depending on the manufacturer of their helmet, they'll take it over to their helmet guy, and they will the helmet guy will prep it for the wet. He'll put a different shield on it, might have something on the inside, also has a face mask on it that directs the air down. So yeah, absolutely, we did have a little bit of a helmet malfunction with one of our riders today, where his nose shield, his mouth shield didn't fit correctly, so I thought, I don't need it. Yeah, he did. So his helmet ended up fogging up, and it caused a little bit of an issue. So he got it fixed, had no issues the second session. So yeah, there's absolutely a wet prep for these helmets. Clear shield, something on the inside, and then a face mask that goes with it as well.
We have another question that comes through. Did you guys ever make it to slick tires, and did it make a big difference in time?
Say that again?
Did we ever switch to slicks?
Yeah. So today, we didn't in the first session. The first session was all wet, so no, we didn't. The second session in the Junior Cup, about 7 or 8 minutes left in qualifying one. With Junior Cup, everybody was on reins. We had a good dry line that was happening. Gage at that point was P3. And so we decided, he had a pretty good gap on fourth at that time. We decided that we didn't want to go out and burn up a set of tires, because we do get an allotment of tires. There's only a certain amount that we can use for the weekend. So we elected, with Gage in that position, to not. Some of the other Junior Cup guys absolutely went out on slicks. And honestly, they didn't go that much quicker, just because they didn't get enough time. The track may not have come in enough for slicks at that point. They went a little quicker, but not that much. I think Gage stayed in P5 at that point. 600s, everybody went out on wets. 600 qualifying was right after that. Everybody went out on wets, immediately came in, put slicks on, and went back out. So there was enough of a dry line that they could utilize the slicks at that point. And lap times got pretty good.
So, do you think Gage likes his new 400?
Gage likes his new 400. We love the R3. The R3 is a great bike. He's definitely gelling more with the 400 a little bit. For some of the things that we've worked on with him and his riding, the 400 is just working really well for him. Ergonomic-wise, he really likes it. He's super comfortable on it. Has a lot more front-end feel with it than he did on the R3. Kind of goofy with how Moto America is getting some of the RPM restrictions and the restrictor plate restrictions. I'll leave my comments there. But overall, yeah, I mean, he's going better on it, and he likes the bike quite a bit more.
So this is definitely someone that's been watching our feed. They saw Gage using the Rapid Reboots.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you've used them and if they help.
Yeah, I love yeah. Hey, Josh, where are my damn Rapid Reboots? Wow. Yeah, so yes, I have used the Rapid Reboots, and I love them. As someone that does a lot of cycling and also a lot of gym stuff, I would love to have a set of Rapid Reboots. Hint. They're fantastic. The recovery is pretty remarkable. Just again, a lot of cycling and a lot of some of the other gym stuff. Definitely on my feet. I don't know how many steps we walk a day here. It's crazy. But even the mechanics are out there using the Rapid Reboots. The riders use them, and I am completely sold on them. So yeah. Good? All right. All right, we're done. Yeah, that's it. See, that wasn't so bad. Thank you all. We'll absolutely do this again. Thank you for your questions, and we'll get this wrapped up. So thanks.